Hi Deb, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good, it's good to see you again. After our last session last week, I thought about you. I wanted to know how you were doing, what's going on?
Things are still pretty tough. We talked last time about how I just lost both of my parents.
Absolutely.
In a car wreck, and I'm just, trying to get through each day the best I can.
Absolutely. So I know we talked a little bit about that, the death of your parents. Talk to me about the relationship you had with them.
It was a good relationship. I was the only child, so I feel like I was pretty close with them, and that things were going really well. I'm really struggling. I felt like I should have done something different. Like I should have been there that day or taken them. I should have driven them instead of just letting them go on their own. Or like there was more that I could have done. I can't figure out what that is yet.
Okay, so you're not sure. So you feel guilt, but you're not even sure where or why.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah, I just feel like, being an only child, they were, because I was close to them and it was a good relationship, like, why didn't I know to do something so that they would still be here?
Of course, and it's very natural to feel an immense amount of guilt after the loss of somebody so close, but I want to assure you it's not your fault. It's not something that that you could have done differently to make it better, but what we can do is make it better now. It's something that you'll always live with, but there's ways to make those feelings more manageable, and to make yourself feel better when you refer back to that. I want you to try and focus on limiting that amount of guilt, and we'll talk about some ways to get there.
Okay.
How do you think you're holding up at home? What's going on at home?
Some days are better, and I can kind of work through my routine of, getting the boys ready for school and to school and such. But I'm still having a lot of hard days where I don't even want to get out of bed. I'm not hungry. I just don't want to do anything.
Okay, what do you mean? What does I don't want to do anything? What does that look like? And what do you mean when you say that?
Even something as simple as making my boys breakfast before school, I can't bring myself to do it. And then I feel even worse because I know that I should be able to do it, and I know I'm their mom, and that's what I should be doing. But I'm so upset and with myself for not helping my parents and with the fact that they're gone, that I just physically can't make myself get out of bed.
Sure. Do you think that perhaps the feelings you have, the stress, the being overwhelmed about your parents' death is the reason for this now, with working with your kids to maybe cook breakfast or maybe take them to school? Do you think those feelings are what's causing that?
Yeah, things were great before my parents' car wreck. We had a good system going, and there was, you had your daily things, but nothing, major that really affected us. But just, since I lost them, I just can't focus on anything else.
Well, I'm sure it's incredibly frustrating because you've gone, how old is your oldest son?
12.
12. You've gone, that's a really long time, over a decade. You've obviously done a great job. Both of your kids are great.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's very frustrating to have gone through this pattern for so long, and then it sort of comes crashing down. And you know how capable you are. I'm sure it's very frustrating at times.
Yeah, just in a phone call, it's just different, and my whole life changed, and I'm even more frustrated because I know that I should be doing the things that I need to do as a mother.
Absolutely.
But I can't make myself do it, and I don't know why.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you told me that part. How's communication with Al going? I know the last session you said sometimes he may have trouble talking to you about certain things, or you may have trouble communicating. How do you think he's taking all of this since you've been, sort of not yourself?
I don't know. It's just, I do feel like maybe there's like a disconnect or something.
What do you mean?
Normally I could talk a lot more, but
To Al?
To
or you
Al,
mean- okay,
yeah.
Sure.
But right now I don't have it in me to do that. And I think he's trying to help the best he can, but sometimes I feel like he doesn't know what to say. And so then there's not a lot of communication. And he's picking up extra shifts, with funeral costs and stuff. He's the sole provider anyways, but I think he's trying to just do a little extra to make things easier.
Sure.
Too.
Is there, maybe I should have brought this up earlier, but when you feel down and you say, maybe you have trouble eating or not getting out of bed, what or when is a time, maybe during the day or maybe after a certain activity, where you feel better? Or maybe these feelings of guilt and grief, they subside for a while, do they? Or is there something that, when that happens?
Sometimes, there'll be like a morning that I might wake up and it's not as bad, and those are the days that I'm not hit with it first thing in the morning. And so those are the days that I can do some more of those normal tasks.
Okay.
But it's probably maybe once or twice a week that I have those better days, where the other days it's the first thing that I'm consumed with if I'm awake.
Okay. So with these feelings of grief and guilt, has an event like this ever happened before in your life? No. Is this sort of the first time you've ever had to deal with such intense grief and loss?
Yeah, I lost my grandma, but I was so young that I don't really remember it. So I know that was like a sad time.
Of course.
But for the intensity of it, yeah, it was both of my parents at the same time, and I don't know how to respond or what to even do without them.
Of course. How do you feel about yourself when you're going through this, when you're feeling this way? How do you feel about yourself?
Right now, I'm just mad at myself. I feel like I should have been driving them so that accident wouldn't have happened, and that there was more that I should have done as their only child so that they would still be here.
A lot of that frustration. Well, I think it's important to realize that, this incredible amount of grief that you're going through there's not a playbook, on how to respond to it, on how to, just make everything seem normal again. And sometimes it can be incredibly difficult to return to your normal life, the life that you had beforehand. So I want you to realize that it's very natural, and there's nothing wrong with feeling that way, with feeling that guilt, feeling that grief, and the frustration that you have from, wanting to be able to perform what was asked of you before. It's okay, it's not realistic to expect yourself to be completely normal, be completely the same, because you're not, and your life won't be exactly the same anymore. So I just want you to know I completely understand. I want you to know that it's completely normal. I don't want you to feel like you're acting out of the ordinary or something like that. What do you think, going forward, how can we, do you think there should be maybe more work with you and Al, or do you think it's more of something you want to address on your own?
I think I probably need to work through my feelings first.
Okay.
There could be work to do with Al, but I know that right now that I'm not myself. I'm not able to express or do the things that I was doing before, because I'm just so consumed with these awful feelings. And I think if maybe I can make those go away a little bit, that I might be able to do things that I was doing before.
Absolutely, make those feelings more manageable, stuff like that. Okay. Well, I think next week we can stop and we can slow down and work on some skills that I think that you'll really use effectively. Ways to sort of just get you back on your feet, or maybe something just, getting out of bed a couple more days. Let's start really small.
Okay.
Many years you lived your life one way, and it changed in an instant. It will take time to get back to where you want to be, I believe. So talk to me briefly about these allegations of neglect about the kids. What's going on there?
So the school called, they said, that there were times that the boys were going in hungry, that their clothes were inappropriate, that they just weren't being taken care of.
Okay.
And I mean, I did do a lot of that before I started to have these feelings. And they're 10 and 12, so part of me just feels like, why can't they just do it? I know I've helped them for so long, but I feel like they could be doing a little bit too. I probably should still be cooking breakfast and stuff, and I'm trying the best I can.
Of course.
So I understand why they were hungry and stuff, but I'm just not helping as much as what they're used to, I guess, and I guess that got taken the wrong way.
Sure.
At school.
Do you, when you hear these allegations, do you see where they're coming from? Do you see, do you think there's some substance to these allegations? Do you think maybe, do you think they're true? Do you feel that they are noteworthy? Do you think that there is actually concern there?
I didn't realize that it might be concerning, but there were a lot of mornings where I wasn't able to help them, and so I guess I can see where they're coming from a little bit.
Sure.
But maybe not to the extent of it being a concern.
Absolutely. So, you knew that you weren't yourself, and you probably weren't going to be able to parent the same way, as your normal self. So that's completely normal. I think that's pretty understandable. What do you think? How has this affected your relationship with the kids, if it has at all?
Our interactions are definitely a lot more limited because I'm struggling to interact with anybody.
Sure.
Most days I just want to sleep because if I'm sleeping, that's the only time I'm not feeling bad.
Right.
And so that's just mainly what I've been doing.
Okay, well, I understand. Well, this situation is just very sad. It's very sad, and I want you to make sure that you give yourself time. If you haven't, I know that it's been some time since the death of your parents, but I want to make sure that you're giving yourself time, to grieve, and maybe in private, maybe in maybe with me, or maybe with Al. But make sure that you're giving yourself that time, because we don't want to develop unnatural or unhealthy habits from our grief. We want to try and maintain ourselves and stick to what we know, but it's incredibly overwhelming. So I understand. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to talk to me while we're still here today?
We talked about a lot of it. I want to be able to eventually feel better so that I can,
Absolutely.
Be a good mom and wife for my family again.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, let's meet again next week, if you're available, and same time and everything. And let's start going over some of the strategies we can find to help you feel like a better wife or a better mother. Even though, you and I know you already do a great job, but
Thank you.
let's do what we can to make you feel better. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.